All right, and we're live, and I'm here with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
How do you do, fellow kids?
And British James is also joining us tonight.
Yeah, holler amigos.
And so we got a lot of nerd stuff to cover. I guess there's a little bit of actual news. I'll probably cover it too. Although I don't really give much of a shit about that much anymore. But real quick, let's bang out some actual news, I suppose. AOC and her merry band of retards have been butting heads with Trump. And Trump basically told, I guess, AOC's Muslim sidekick, I don't remember her name, nor do I care, to go back to her shithole country. You know, the one that married her brother so she can move here. And it hasn't been going well for them. It hasn't been going well for them at all. You know, I think they were doing a lot better when they were having their civil war with Nancy Pelosi. But they're butting heads with Trump. I don't think that's panning out well for them. Their let's abolish ICE isn't really all that popular. They're not nearly as popular as they think they are, and it's not going well for them.
Well, they are the most recognized people and the least popular, according to a recent poll.
I mean, I don't think AOC is as nearly as much of a joke as far as her political prospects as a lot of us on the right think. I think a lot of us on the right have a blind spot towards her. It's sort of a similar situation with Trump, like how the left is, oh, he's nothing. Nobody takes him. No. That said, the other three of these retards, nobody gives a shit about. Okay. Nobody cares about the other three of these. All right. AOC at least has a charming factor to her. The other three, not so much. I mean, I wouldn't even remember like the Muslim girl's the only one who I even fucking remember, and I can't remember her name. You know? So no, this has not gone well for them. It's just endeared Trump more because, yeah, saying stuff like "go back to your own fucking country if you don't like this one," people like that. As much as everyone wants to get all offended and more racism and all this other shit and discrimination, yeah, okay, nobody cares. All right, everybody's wanted to say that for a long fucking time. All right, yes, Jihad Barbie over here needs to go back to her own fucking country if she does not like this one so much. You know, to paraphrase Jack Nicholson's Joker, Durkas shouldn't live here. They'd be happier somewhere else.
Oh yeah, most of this is going to screw up. Obviously, I think the more they fight, generally speaking, the more likely Trump's definitely going to win. Because, I mean, who's actually the favorite at this point for Democratic primaries?
Nobody in the primaries got a fucking. The only people in the primary that have a shot against Trump, it's almost a complete inverse. The more of a shot one of these Democrat candidates has in a general election, the less of a shot they seem to have in the primary. Like, frankly, the only one I think really, really could beat Trump is Tulsi Gabbard. She will never, I have a better chance of winning the Powerball than that woman has of getting the primary.
Well, I'm looking at the odds now.
And I didn't even buy a ticket yet.
Well, I'm looking at the odds on the betting app I use. She's got a 50-1 chance. She's the least favorite candidate to be the Democratic nominee.
But she's in general, she'd have the most shot against Trump. It's sort of a repeat of the Ron Paul thing, where the very things that would make her electable in a general election are the very reason her party will not give it to her. Like Ron Paul's anti-war stance back in 2008, especially, and even in 2012, would have made him the most electable in a general election. It's not that Ron Paul's other stances were all that in line with the general population, but the anti-war stuff would have given him the most shot. And that is precisely the reason why the Republicans, both the establishment and a lot of the base, was having none of him. And it's similar with Tulsi Gabbard. At the end of the day, as much as the Democrats like to pretend like they're anti-war, Tulsi Gabbard, being the one person out there saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be going to war with Iran, is the very reason she will not get the nomination.
Well, do you want to hear the favorites? This might make you laugh. Kamala Harris is the favorite with 2-1.
I can kind of see that. I still think they're going to give it to Biden because let's be real.
He's actually third least now. Because I think there was a general thing which Scott Adams puts, like the more Joe Biden has actually spoken, his poll is basically dropped as he's spoken more. Yeah, like the less he spoke, Yeah.
The votes really don't fucking matter that much. Like, look, the RNC is pretty corrupt, but the DNC has basically confirmed kills. Okay, so they're gonna give it to who they're gonna give it to. If they can possibly steal it for Biden, they will. Now, maybe the establishment is going to take a look at Biden and say, "Yeah, maybe that's not the horse we want to bet on," and they'll go with Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, she's second favorite.
And Bernie's not going to get it. Like, Bernie might have a something of a shot in a general election, although I still say that comment at the one debate, that I will raise your taxes is basically his death knell in a general election. But yeah, he's not going to get it in the nominee. He's not going to get the nominee. I don't believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's still quite low as well. I mean, he's a bit more than Andrew Yang, but he's not going to make it.
None of these guys have a shot in general. Like I said, I still contend Gabbert's the most electable in general, and they won't fucking. It's not going to happen. So there's going to Trump's got a second term. There's just no. I don't really see a way that's not an issue. So that's why I said on an earlier stream that to me the more interesting story coming out of the Democrat Party is the basically the Democrat Civil War. The AOC versus Pelosi kind of Civil War. That was the more interesting story to me.
And with one little tweet, Trump made them the centerpiece of the entire Democrat Party.
Yeah,
the Democrat Party has to defend anti-Semitic racist statements now.
I think the only way Trump could probably lose would be depends on how Iran goes. That's the only thing I could probably think of, because if he does decide to go balls deep, good reason or not, it's basically just going to be, Bush 3.0 at that point.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Democrats are very bad about taking advantage of anti-war stuff. Like, I mean, look, the Democrats should have been able to win in 2004. If they'd have run a truly anti-war presidential candidate, then W would have been a one-term president. But they ran Mr. John Kerry, who voted for his rambling fucking statement of "I was for it before I was against it," that dumb shit. Like, they didn't really go. Like, the Democrats took the entire House, and they took the House and the Senate. They took the entire Congress in 2006, based entirely off of anti-war sentiment. Now, they promptly ignored that. The anti-war sentiment was a big reason Obama got elected. It was arguably the single biggest factor. And then, of course, Obama just went ahead and did Bush's foreign policy, only he was bad at it. So, yeah, the Democrats aren't going to run anyone who's truly got a good anti-war record. So they're not, even if Trump goes all fucking neocon stupid W shit, I mean, maybe he could lose because a lot of his base would stay home, but that's
what I'm saying. It's not, he wouldn't be certain of loss, but it would probably be the closest thing he could do to fucking up. I mean, I can't think of anything else he could probably do unless he basically said, "Lol, the war's not happening."
And then dabs.
Yeah, it wasn't about the war; it was about the friends we made on the way.
Yeah, maybe the real war was the friends we made along the way. But yeah, that's this week. Good old AOC. You were better off fighting with Pelosi. All right.
Actually, I did want to say one thing in regards to Yang. I was going through some of the Terror House tweets, and I remember someone tweeting, it's like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait for Andrew Yang to get in. He's gonna truly reveal what Area 51 is about."
I like the Revenge of the Sis guys. Who were like, every time Andrew Yang was asked a question in debate, he could have just gone $1,000 and then dabbed a bunch of air horseplay. Just
yeah, you just got these marijuana symbols floating around.
Snoop Dogg comes out and starts
yeah.
$1,000. You want $1,000? I love how in my head he talks like that, even though he doesn't. I always, you want $1,000?
Well, where's he from? Because he speaks. I mean, I know I've been saying shilling Patrice a lot, but I always liked his.
President, he's got to be a natural born citizen.
No, but what I'm saying is like where from? Because I know, is it like San Francisco Asians are like the only normal Asians if you go by Patrice? Like every other one, it's like basically an accent, and that's it. They're not normal.
Oh lordy. So yeah, that's that was this week.
Smoke weed every day.
I wasn't expecting that. Oh man. So yeah, that was I'm all for little Miss Omar going back to whatever fucking sand hole she crawled out of.
Ilhan Omar has said and done a lot of crazy stuff. She described the worst terrorist atrocity ever perpetrated on US soil as some people did something.
Some people did something?
She called for, quote,
It sounds a lot funnier with it when it's sped up.
compassion for wannabe ISIS jihadists and said that a judge in Minnesota should give them lenient sentences. She refused to denounce Al-Qaeda.
Can you respond to some of the president's specific claims, most notably that you're a communist and that you're pro-Al-Qaeda?
You might have noticed how when he said, go back to where you came from, there was an uproar.
That you're pro-Al-Qaeda.
She refused to denounce the Antifa terrorist attack on an ICE facility in Washington state.
Will you condemn the Antifa attack in Washington over the weekend?
I feel like when I see the four of them standing, I feel like they should be standing behind a couch with a little white boy on it. Like, it's,
God.
Can somebody Photoshop that? That'd be fucking hilarious. Oh, I don't know. Have Richard Spencer sitting on a couch. That, of course, would imply, though, that Richard Spencer is Oh, man. Okay, so moving on from politics, San Diego Comic-Con was here recent. I guess it's still going on. And there's a few announcements, a few nerd stuff to talk about. First, here's a really good good news for me. So the pardon me, the last show that I give a shit about, the Orville, it's moving to Hulu. So that's just fucking fantastic. To watch the last show I give a shit about is going to cost me another $5.99 plus tax a month. That's just, I love that. That's great. So, fucking Disney here. Let's see. This is off of trekmovie.com is the site that was reporting it. And I just threw a link to it in the chat, by the way, Luke. During today's The Orville panel at San Diego Comic-Con, show creator and star Seth MacFarlane made big news, announcing the show is hopping from Fox Broadcasting Network to Hulu streaming service. The move is a surprise, as Fox has already announced a third season renewal for The Orville in May. According to MacFarlane, moving to Hulu is something he felt would be best for the show, allowing it more flexibility. No date was given for the premiere of the third season, but sources tell Trek Movie it is targeted for the fall of 2020. Motherfuck! I got to wait a year for it too. With production set to start this fall, because Disney really was fucking them around on the renewal thing. The third season is expected to run 10 to 13 episodes and will be released on a weekly basis, which is traditional for most of Hulu's original content, like series like The Handmaid's Tale. Oh yeah, well, if I get my Hulu subscription, I can finally watch that fucking feminist rape fantasy.
I'm drunk for the show.
This move can be seen as another facet of how things have been shifting following Disney's acquisition of Fox Studios, which owns the Orville. Oh, Seth, you really should have retained ownership. I don't know what the fuck you were doing there. In May of this year, Disney took over complete control of Hulu, so having the Orville on Hulu can benefit the show as it brings production and distribution all within the Disney family. Even though Disney purchased Fox Studios from Fox Corporate, the Fox Broadcasting Company is still a separate entity and remains part of the Fox parent company. That's fucking weird. Hulu is seen as part of Disney's strategy, offering more adult-oriented entertainment alongside their upcoming Disney Plus streaming service, which will launch. How many fucking streaming services are you expected to have? Like, literally, Hollywood entertainment industry. How many of these fucking things do you expect us to have? Okay, I know they're only like $5.99 a month. They're $10 a month, but when there's like fucking 40 of them, that adds up. You know, people stopped pirating shit when there was just like one or two of them streaming services out there. Okay, they're just gonna go back to pirating shit now. The Hulu subscription service comes standard on most smart TVs and streaming devices, is also available on mobile devices and most gaming systems. Subscription to Hulu costs $5.99 per month or $11.99 for the ad-free version. Motherfucker.
Wait, doesn't really?
So I'm going to pay an additional $5.99 a month plus tax to watch the fucking Orville with commercials. And you know what? You know what's fucked up? I guess I'm just a total fucking cuck because I'm going to do it. It's the last show I give a shit about. Yeah, when it comes out, I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to sit here and bitch about it, but I'm going to do it. Honestly, I cancel the fucking, right now it's satellite, if it were up to me. I'd cancel the TV, especially now that the last show I give a shit about is gone. I mean, yeah, I watched Flash and Arrow, but I fell so far behind. I'm going to have to catch up on like Netflix or DVD or some shit. I'll watch Family Guy sometimes when I remember. You know, there's a few shows I'll watch if I remember they're on kind of thing, but I almost never turn the damn thing on because TV sucks. It isn't that and I'm not taking like some hipster position when I say I don't watch TV. You know, back in the day, if somebody's like, I don't even own a TV, they were probably a pretentious asswipe. All right. You know. Like a certain bald bisexual I unfortunately used to associate with on this channel, that kind of thing. But no, I miss TV. I miss when you could just turn TV and you'd find something to watch. You could turn the TV on any time of any day and you were going to find something worth watching. I miss those days. But they're gone. They're fucking gone. The move to Hulu in the USA will not impact how the Orville is broadcast overseas. So, James, you will not need your Orville license. One way you can shit talk me as an American. One little thing you can shit talk me as. I still have guns and I don't need a jack off license. But
well, I mean, the 10th
I
Amendment
do
says,
need my Orville license.
well, the 10th Amendment says it might exist, so the 26th might be, you know, your right to bear the episodes of the Orville seasons 1 till 3.
You're right. Yeah, you're right to watch the Orville on network television. Sadly, they weren't that forward thinking.
Yep.
Now, do we have a problem? No, sir. No, Mr. Mouse. No, Mr. Mouse. Oh, that's good, because I thought we had a problem for a minute there, huh? All right, now, get out there and make me some goddamn money.
Yeah, that's Mickey beating the shit out of me after I'm complaining about having to get a Hulu subscription. I mean, it's the last show I fucking like, so yeah, I'm gonna fucking get the damn subscription. You know, honestly, maybe I won't even. I might just like wait till the fucking thing comes out on DVD and just buy the fucking DVD. I mean, how much is a season on DVD? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
you can watch a million times and even resell if you're fucking sick of it.
well, I mean, they usually release those DVDs just after the season, and I think I told you before chat, like if Hulu does like 30-day free trials, just pick up one of those when the season ends and just blitz it.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna have like a permanent subscription. I'm probably gonna wait till like 4 episodes come out and get 1 month and real quick, or maybe wait till they're all out and binge it real quick. Like I have Netflix, but I don't keep Netflix all the fucking time. Like there's times I just shut it off for a while and. You know, because yeah, there's stuff I like on Netflix, but I don't watch it that often. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the new Stranger Things was out. I really liked it, but you know, I watched it. It's done, and now what am I going to watch on it? Nothing. The movie selection on there sucks. Even the old TV show selection is starting to get worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I can keep around usually is Amazon Prime, but that's because it accidentally has Amazon Prime because I wanted the fucking free delivery stuff. Their selections for like good 80s/90s films isn't too bad.
I don't know. Why did we turn our back on the video store? Why did we all do that? Can we like collectively go back to Blockbuster? Okay, because you actually could fucking There was actually a good movie selection at your typical, even your fucking Blockbuster. And the mom and pop video stores were even better.
Mm.
Like, we go back to that. That was better. Like we all got suckered into something that's worse. Well, you can stream it. You don't have to leave the house. I like leaving the house. I don't. I like going outside once in a while. For fuck's sake.
Thing is, I've never had the problem with the rental stuff because my old man will literally pick up every DVD of any film he likes. So I'll have about at least 500-600 DVDs to watch. It's never really been a problem for me.
When I was a kid, we had so many fucking movies that were all taped. Like my dad would rent a movie and hook up the 2 VCRs and tape it. So like we had this movie cabinet and they were all just like blank tapes with the movie written on the side. It was so fucking ghetto.
just in permanent marker.
Yeah, just it was so fucking like Ghostbusters 2. Yeah,
Not a bad idea.
The only one I remember him just buying as a real little kid was the fucking Star Trek set. Because he was enough of a nerd, like there was this huge box set of the first 5 Star Treks, and it was like on the side of the VHS boxes was like part of the ship, so that when you put them all together, you saw the whole Enterprise A.
Oh God,
and it came in like this fucking big box and shit like it. That's the only time I remember him actually fucking buying.
Was that VHS for all of the films?
It was the first 5, and then the 6th one could kind of fit next to it too, but yeah, it was the first 5 was the one he got that for.
I mean, I still remember my dad's collection of Star Trek on VHS, the TV shows. That used to take up about 2-3 large trunks, and I still remember him selling them one day, having to put 3 trunks, and that was just DS9 on one fucking filling up his entire car boot.
I never got Star Trek shows on DVD because Star Trek shows were, for being a fucking space communist, Gene Roddenberry sure liked to make some motherfucking money. Seasons of Star Trek on DVD are insanely maybe you can find them used now, but they would come out and they'd be like $60 for one season. I can you fucking mind.
Oh, dude, they're insane. I'll give you one thing. I've still got the receipt because my dad actually used to be a big X-Files fan. He paid, and mind you, this is back in the conversion rate where it was $2 to the pound, I think, or about $1.75 to the pound. He spent £100 on season 1 of X-Files.
Good God! Like, yeah, you'd think £100 would be like the fucking whole show.
No, and here's the thing: I ended up picking up the entire Blu-ray collection, which is all 9 seasons, and that was about £70. So, and what would that be, about $100 at today's exchange rate?
I will say though, the Orville comic book, the first issue of it, came out this week, and it's just going to be 4 issues as of right now. But it takes place between season 1 and 2, and it's actually really good. The art's really good. The writing's good. It kind of fills up a few loose ends between season 1 and 2. Good stuff so far. Let's see.
I see one package for season 1 for $10, but then I see 3 packages for the first 3 seasons for $500.
Well, what are you on there? Amazon?
This is just Google.
Okay. Yeah. Well, see, the thing I've noticed about Amazon is like the prices just range all over the fucking place. Like there'll be a guy selling something for $10 and then somebody else selling it for $500. It's like, what the fuck are you thinking? I almost wonder if that's like some guy whose wife is telling him to sell all this stuff and he just puts ridiculous prices on it. He's like, I don't know, honey, it's just not selling. I'm gonna tell you, it's just a bad economy. Let's see. What else out of San Diego?
Breath of Fire 3 PS1, no case, booklet, or game disc included. Near mint condition, A+++, $500. Ultra rare. There are more albino unicorns than copies of this game. You can sacrifice your left nut to the flying spaghetti monster. You will never find another in the heliocentric universe. Search result 1 of 200.
So other news out of San Diego Comic-Con, a little announcement. They announced a Mary Jane ongoing comic book over at Marvel. And they're slowly but surely in the Spider-Man book kind of undoing One More Day. Been getting Mary Jane and Spider-Man back together, trying to trying to undo that, which I don't know if they'll ever really wash the stain of that off the Spider-Man franchise, but I would certainly like to see them try and get rid of it.
Is that like an alternate universe, or is that something that's been pervasive throughout the entire series?
What?
The fact they can't work the marriage out.
No, I mean, it was fine for a while, and then they just, a lot of what it is, and this is not just comics, this is just entertainment in general. For some reason, writers more and more cannot seem to write a stable fucking relationship. I don't know why that is. Well, I mean, I would have several theories, but they just can't. They just can't. It's not. All the drama's gone now. Like, no, it's not. All right. It's basically a bunch of writers want to rehash the same Spider-Man had to stand up his date to go fight Doc Octopus story from the 70s over and over and over again till the end of fucking time. And it's boring. It was much more interesting when they were married, just like it was much more interesting when he actually told Aunt May he was Spider-Man, and then she became a more interesting character. That's far more interesting. I'll check this out. I'll check this comic out. I don't have a tremendous amount of, I'm not going to sit here and I'm excited for it because it's modern Marvel we're talking about, and you should never approach a Marvel comic right now with more than cautious optimism. But I'll probably check out issue 1. The other comic that was announced, they announced a Power Rangers Ninja Turtle crossover series. That's kind of interesting. It's especially interesting because if you remember back in the day, Power Rangers hit the scene here in the States basically at the exact time the Turtles craze was checking out. The first wave of Turtles craze was done. So Power Rangers in many ways was sort of the successor to Ninja Turtles when it came to the big thing that all the kids were obsessed with. So, and they've done a lot of fun crossovers. The TMNT's done crossover, 4 of them now with Batman that have been really cool. 5 if you count the fucking movie. There's the 3 regular ones. There's the Batman TMNT Adventures, and there's the animated fucking movie. They did 2 Ghostbusters crossover. That was fun. So this should be fun. The one thing I don't like reading the plot synopsis is it sounds like it's one of those kind of crossovers where we just act like they exist in the same universe, which I don't care for as much as when we actually acknowledge that it's 2 different universes and some sort of interdimensional shit. But you know what? It should still be fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wait, I was going to ask, because mentioning Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I don't think I've heard your take, but what's your take on, I can't remember if it's in the main continuity of comics or some side thing, but isn't there some female gash version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or there's a new...
That was another thing that was announced. Okay, so, back in there was an old live action show that had a 5th turtle named Venus, who was a female, but now there's some character that exists in the IDW comic is going to be turned into a female turtle. It's almost like a She-Hulk style origin. She gets a blood transplant or something that turns her into it. It just sounds shitty, and it's something that's going to be forgotten in a few years. That's all it is, in my opinion. It's some shitty thing that people are barely. Nobody but the most hardcore of turtle fans are going to remember in 5 fucking years is what this new female turtle in the IDW comic is going to be.
I mean, I heard it on Twitter, and it's why would a mutant turtle give a blood transfusion to a woman and it changes her into a turtle?
Well, it sounds like they're ripping off the Hulk storyline where She-Hulk got her powers. And She-Hulk absolutely needed a blood transfusion, and the only one that could possibly do it in that moment was her cousin Bruce Banner, knowing he knew the dangers behind it, but it was either that or she was going to die kind of situation, That live action turtle show was such shit. Dashing Rogue sends 199, says just joining already talking about One More Day. Well, One More Day is pretty fucking terrible. And speaking of terrible, let's talk about some more fucking announcements from the San Diego Comic-Con. Something that I am not looking forward to. Here we have this is off of CBR.com, which is one of the worst comic book sites you can go to, by the way. Star Trek Lower Decks reveals first look at show's characters. So we have a shitty CalArt Star Trek cartoon coming out. Oh boy. You know, I was just thinking, you know what Star Trek needs? It needs fucking Steven Universe shit in it. That's what it needs. I'm sorry, like that. You know, the Cal art style, it isn't even objectively that bad. It really isn't. It's just that it's so representative of the soulless fucking SJWs that are mass produced out of these fucking art schools now, who produce the exact same fucking show over and over again with this cheap, easy fucking animation style.
Can I?
You know what? Maybe this show will be fucking great. Who knows? Maybe it'll be fucking hilarious. But you know, I look at that art style and I immediately fucking recoil.
Can I say one
certainly
thing?
have no confidence in what's going on with modern Trek. Although we did watch the Picard trailer right before this, and that actually looks somewhat interesting. But this just looks fucking terrible.
Do you know how I can really say this is going to annoy me? I can actually hear the characters' voices in my head from that one screenshot. I already want to tear my fucking ears off.
I already am almost certain I hate that black chick. Like, I just, I already feel like I know everything there is to know about that character. You're absolutely right. You can basically hear the fucking voices.
Like, green one is going to be some sort of obnoxious, naive chick. I don't know, fucking mocha dude on the left.
Yes,
He's probably going to be a bit dim. The fourth guy is going to be incredibly dim. And then third is going to be sassy black chick.
All right, so we got annoying, energetic, naive girl. We got Cyborg from Teen Titans. I guarantee you that's exactly how the fuck they write him. Cyborg from Teen Titans. We got sassy black women, sassy black, guarantee you Mary Sue character. And then we got fucking beta cuck.
Cuckold, yeah. He watches Cyborg fuck the third one.
Yeah,
that's his role in it.
Yeah, he watches his girl go Klingon.
Oh god. Yeah, backcleft.com.
So yeah, I already feel like I know everything there is to know about this fucking show. Just at a glance.
I kind of, as much as it's going to be inappropriate, I kind of still want to see Tarantino's Star Trek vision, just to see, you know, does the sign on my front lawn say "Dead Bajoran Storage"? I don't care if at least, you know, just go full Tarantino.
Do you see? It's got to be like some sort of like Joran. It's got to be some sort of fucking pejorative for him.
Yeah. You know, a couple Cardassians end up.
I don't know. What's the pejorative for Bajoran?
Yeah, a couple Klingons accidentally kill a Bajoran, and then you just got the Cardassians. Like, we had enough bodies. Why did you need to bring more?
My space station that says "Dead Board Swords."
God.
Oh God. Arthur Tingle sends $2 Canadian. Says, have you and Luke considered making a comic? I actually was working on a comic with a buddy of mine. He was doing the art, like kind of a shared universe superhero stuff that, I mean, we had flashed out tons of characters for. And it was a project that got shelved because he went through a personal tragedy in his life. And I'm not going to get into it because that's his business. But the point is, it got shelved, and it's something I've thought about picking up, but he's just so insanely busy with day job, he won't be able to pick it up. So I have thought about kicking around the idea of bringing in some art, and I have his blessing to do this, bringing in some other artists, maybe Luke, maybe some other guys, and trying to get that off the ground. So yeah, thank you for the super chat. Tom Z sends $1.99 and says Star Trek Soyager. Oh man.
Bitch just got tripled.
So let's try to read this fucking article. Okay, so during the Star Trek Universe panel at Comic-Con International in San Diego, CBS officially unveiled the principal cast and characters of the upcoming adult animated series Star Trek Lower Decks. The CBS All Access comedy, yet another fucking thing you can only get on a streaming service. will follow several members of a support crew who serve on the lower decks of the USS Cerritos, one of the less important ships in Starfleet. In a series co-created by Rick and Morty writer McMahon, the series will star Tawny Newson as Ensign Becker, I don't care.
Literal Who characters.
Yeah.
This has potential for a show that just that having, instead of, because every show has always gone through basically the main characters to command bridge, having like something from purely like an engineering or like the sort of just like the janitor's perspective on those ships has got potential, but I think you'd have to do it really well.
There is an inherent potential in this show, and if I had any faith in Western animation in general right now, if I had any, if I didn't look at this and immediately feel like if I didn't look at this and immediately feel like I knew everything there was to know about it, I might be interested in this premise, because it's not a bad premise. It's not a bad idea. But it just already looks like the execution is shit. Brendan Lasario sends $2 and said Hollywood actually listened to Chris about 007. What? When I don't think I don't.
Was he now a white man? Well,
yeah, I don't think I advocated for double O.
I was gonna say with that, just to make a slight point, and this actually ends up making the new James Bond more racist than I imagined, because I think it's mentioned in Casino Royale, and I think Razor Fist was going off it on Twitter, like the 007. It's not like a position; it's almost like a status given once you do something. So there's no 008. As far as I know, it's only basically James Bond is the latest 007 agent. So for this woman to now be another 007, you're saying that a black woman stole his position? I think that's pretty offensive.
The other, I'll go with that. I have no interest in it. It's, years ago I wouldn't have been bothered by it, but like whatever. But like now, I'm just so done with so much of this shit anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore.
The funny thing is, Idris Elba's actually said he doesn't want to be James Bond because even he admits he doesn't think James Bond should be black.
Yeah, well, he's never struck me as a shithead, and I mean maybe he is. He's a Hollywood type, but he's never given off that vibe. I mean, who knows? I used to think Will Smith was an upstanding man, and now I'm pretty sure 4chan might be onto something between him and his son, if you know what I'm saying. So who knows? But yeah, Eldridge kind of strikes me, or Ibris, whatever the hell his name is. He strikes me as somewhat something of.
Yeah, he's a decent enough actor. I mean, I saw the last one.
All right, so another little Comic-Con story. First look, Voyager warping to the Mirror Universe. IDW's upcoming Smoke and Mirrors comic book presents Janeway, Pirate Queen of the Quadrant. So this is going to be a comic series that is going to be Star Trek Voyager, but Mirror Universe. IDW has done a lot of great Star Trek comics here recently. The Q conflict is going on right now. It's pretty good. There's a few oddball one-shots I've really enjoyed. I've really enjoyed their TNG Mirror Universe stuff. The 3 different series so far were Broken Mirror, Into the Mirror, and Terra Incognito, all of which are fantastic. So this says the USS Voyager will make her long-awaited return to comic book universe in October when IDW Publishing releases the one-shot. Oh, it's only a one-shot. Star Trek Voyager Smoke and Mirrors. This will be no ordinary adventure, as Smoke and Mirrors not only represents Voyager's first ever comic book foray into the Mirror Universe, but the single issue will kick off a monthly IDW Mirror Universe event, also set to feature the original series in Deep Space Nine. We have the first look at the cover, which debuted at San Diego Comic-Con panel just moments ago below. And, the cover already seems kind of cool. Popular G.I. Joe writer Paul Allor has crafted the Mirrors and Smoke tale. I kept saying Smoke and Mirrors. Mirrors and Smoke, which will be complemented with art by veteran Trek illustrator J.K. Woodward. As for the story, Mirrors and Smoke introduces Captain Janeway of the Voyager, a rebel ship stranded in the Delta Quadrant, far from the ruins of the Terran Empire. When Janeway crowns herself Pirate Queen of the Quadrant, the locals, including scavengers Neelix and Kess, won't give up without a fight. Amid this conflict, the crew of the Voyager has a second problem on their hands. Who is the Terran calling herself Annika Henson, and can she be trusted? So yeah, this actually sounds pretty damn cool.
Actually, I've got an interesting question. I don't think you've raised it. Has the Mirror Universe anything? I certainly don't think the TV show has, but maybe the comics have. Have the Borg ever been in any of them, and how are they represented?
I don't believe so. It seems like we see 7 of 9 in this crew here, but she doesn't look Borgified. She just looks like a person. I don't believe we've seen the Mirror Universe Borg, as far as I know.
They're trying to deconvert everyone.
Yeah, they're space and narco capitalists.
Oh God!
Instead of space communists, they try to make you completely individual. They're basically a bunch of Stefan Molyneux.
Are you assimilating me?
They make you disavow your family. I like Chakotay there. Look at all looking like he's about to join a fucking 80s metal band.
God.
Will this be a universe where Ensign Kim isn't a fucking virgin cuck?
Oh God.
Ensign Kim's fucking everybody on the ship.
I will say I did like Voyager a lot more than I thought I would.
Voyager, look, Voyager has problems. I'm not going to act like it doesn't. Voyager, however, does not deserve quite as much shit as it gets. It really again, not going to act like it doesn't have problems, but it gets a little too much shit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it one credit, and same with DS9. It doesn't obviously have that. I still think when it comes to quality, yeah, TNG, you've got to wait until season 3 or just ignore the first 2 seasons. But I don't think DS9 or Voyager, for that matter, have bad first seasons. I just think with Voyager, the overall quality is not that good. I think with DS9, I hate to say it, it's just a better show in every way.
Yeah, DS9's the height of the franchise. I'm not going to dispute that.
But I mean, TSG, it takes a while to rev up, but when it does get there, it's a great show.
And even DS9, it doesn't have a bad first season, but its first season definitely stumbles a bit compared to some of the absolute that would come later.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow start. I mean, it's still got some of the best episodes aside from that fucking Alagumori fucking jumping around, skip jumping shit, but it's still a great show, I think. Or first season.
Some more comic news. This is off of ScreenRant.com. Alan Moore has retired from writing comic books as planned. Alan Moore, the creator of such legendary comics as From Hell, V for Vendetta, and Watchmen, only one of which was a good fucking comic out of those 3. V for Vendetta made a good movie, but wasn't a good read. Has officially retired from the comic book industry with the release of the final issue of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 4. The Tempest. Moore is an English comic book writer who first made a name for himself with 2000 AD and Marvel UK before moving to DC Comics, where he felt international success with the saga of Swamp Thing. Moore would go on to write some of DC's most popular comic books of all time, including The Killing Joke. The work that Moore is best known for is Watchmen, which is a dark and gritty examination of the costumed superhero, and would go on to define the tone of comics for decades to follow. Sadly, yes. Moore would later have a falling out with DC over royalties related to Watchmen, and he would work with publishers such as America's Best Comics and Image, where he would publish series such as Promethea, Supreme, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Once again, just to translate the bullshit speaking here, Moore's falling out with DC is he was salty because he didn't bother to read a contract. In 2016, Moore revealed to The Guardian that he intended to retire from writing comic books with the release of the final series of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. The final issue of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was released today, and it marks the end of a 20-year run of the series and the beginning of Moore's retirement from the comic book industry. There have been several movie adaptations of Moore's work, and he had an infamously vitriolic response to almost all of them, especially the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen film, which was even mocked in the pages of the comic. DC has continued to use Watchmen character by integrating them in the universe of their comics in the form of Doomsday Clock crossover, as well as bringing Promethea and Tom Strong into the DC universe. HBO is also making a live-action adaptation of The Watchmen, which seems to be deviating a great deal from the source material. Yeah, the HBO Watchmen looks like shit. Moore's retirement from the comic book industry doesn't mean he's given up on all creative endeavors, as he stated that he wishes to continue writing films and working on films and writing novels. There's also a chance Moore's retirement won't last long. Stan Lee was still working in comics up until he passed away in 2018 at the age of 95. Alan Moore is only 65, so it's possible the world hasn't seen the last of one of the greatest comic book writers of all time. Moore is not going to stay the fuck away. I'm going to call it right now. He will be back. If it takes longer than 5 years for him to return to writing comics, I would be fucking shocked. He can't fucking stay away. This is attention seeking. This is a little kid running away from home.
It's like when Kevin Smith says last film and then he just comes out with another fucking dribbling garbage like Clerks. Have you seen the that was one other thing from San Diego Comic Con was the
Sound Bob reboot thing. It looks bad. Look, here's the thing. Like most people my age, when I was a teenager, especially most nerds my age, I fucking loved Kevin Smith. All right. And to this day, I still think Clerks is a great movie. I think Mallrats is a great movie. And I think Clerks 2 is funny as ever loving hell. The rest of his film catalog, not so much. And I will say, as a superhero fan, Kevin Smith, when he gets off his lazy fat ass and actually produces something, is one of the best superhero writers of all time. In fact, in my opinion, I'm going to go out there and say something unpopular. Kevin Smith is a better superhero writer than Alan Moore. I'm unequivocally going to say that. Stuff like Guardian Devil, stuff like his Green Arrow run, I will put that against basically anything Moore wrote. I would rather, if somebody was getting into superheroes, I would sooner hand them Daredevil, Guardian Devil, or Green Arrow Quiver than I would hand them fucking Watchmen. And I don't hate Watchmen. This isn't like, like Razor Fist I know loves to hate on Watchmen. I don't hate Watchmen. Watchmen is good. But guess what, guys? That's all it is. It's good. It ain't fucking great, and it certainly ain't the end-all, be-all of the superhero genre. You know what Watchmen is? It's a deconstruction. That's all it is at the end of the day. And those can be fine. Those can be those can even make you see a genre in a new light. It's good that every once in a while take something apart. It helps you understand how it works. But just taking something apart isn't as hard as building something up, is it? And you know who really, really loves deconstructions?
Movie Bob.
The type of person who really, really, not just in superhero, but in any kind of genre. You know the type of person who really, really loves a deconstruction? A pompous pseudo-intellectual who wants to feel smarter than the thing he enjoys. That's who generally loves. That's why if you read Watchmen when you were a teenager, you probably enjoyed it a lot more than if you read it as an adult. So yeah, it's just a deconstruction. That's all it is.
One hell of a protege, pal. A true pioneer of the Alan Moore method. What comprises the Alan Moore comic writing method, you sheepishly inquire? Well, the Alan Moore method, my friends, is when you swallow a North Korean super tanker of blotter acid and then pretend the one-note caricatures you inevitably pinch out in the inebriated aftermath is a neo-surrealistic portrait of contemporary mores. No, asshole, it isn't. It's fucking Sea-Guy that goddamn eats. Write a fucking comic instead of frantically scrambling to perpetually remain no less than 5 feet ahead of the cool curve. Fuck you very much.
Okay, somebody in the chat says, but Alan Moore can meet a deadline unlike Kevin Smith. Oh, I'll give you that. Kevin Smith's lateness as a comic book writer is beyond inexcusable. And it was actually the first time I really, like, you got to remember, as a teenager and even into a young adult, I thought he was the tits. I thought he was cool as hell. I just, dare I say it, that was a hero. Oh, wow, look at this cool fucking goofy fat nerd who made good. That's awesome. The first time I really saw a shitbag side to Kevin Smith had to do with his lateness on comics. And let's tell the story. So he wrote a series for Marvel, a little mini-series called Spider-Man and the Black Cat, The Evil Men Do. And it's actually a pretty damn good read, as is most of his superhero work. And he even went on Jay Leno, quote unquote, to promote the first issue of it. Really, he just liked going on Jay Leno. Him and Jay were friends. But I remember it just seemed, because this was like 2002, it just seemed so special. Like, oh my God, a comic book is being promoted on Jay Leno. That's so cool. In between issues, I believe 3 and 4 of this, 5 or 6 issue miniseries, there was a over 3-year gap in time. And the reason for that is he was a lazy fuck who didn't finish it. What's worse is this gap in time between issues had gone on for so long that fans would confront him about it and Q&As at Comic Cons, to the point where he would actually charge you to sit on one of his panels, to watch one of his panels, even though you already paid to get into the con, just to try and get rid of all the troll questions. At one point, he said one of the most ignorant fucking things that somebody else on that panel should have punched him right in his fat fucking mouth for. Somebody complained, once again, why are you coming up on 3 fucking years late on an issue of a Black Cat? And he said, this is bullshit, man. You know, nobody bitched at Brian Hitch for being so late on Ultimates. Nobody bitched at Michael Turner for being late on Fathom. Now, let's put this in perspective. Brian Hitch is an artist, not a writer. Now, I'm not going to ever say that being an artist is a harder job than being a writer, but it is the more time-consuming. A writer can pan out 12 issues in a fucking weekend. The average speed for an artist in the comic book industry is roughly a page a day. That's just the realities of it. Whether or not it doesn't matter which one's harder. One is obviously the more time-consuming. Now, setting that aside, setting the Brian Hitch thing aside, and don't get me wrong, Brian Hitch was way too late on Ultimates. Okay. Michael Turner was both the writer and artist for Fathom. And I would also like to mention that the reason Michael Turner was running so late on issues of Fathom is because he was battling fucking cancer. A cancer that would years later come to take his life. So Kevin Smith compared his battle with the Law and Order marathons on his goddamn couch to Michael Turner's battle with cancer. So don't get me wrong. When I say Kevin Smith is one of the best superhero writers out there, that is only when he pulls his head out of his ass and actually works. He is a lazy fuck and kind of a shithead about it. Also, he wrote an issue of a miniseries called Daredevil the Target, which is, to my knowledge, the first time Marvel has ever had to cancel a miniseries in which one of the issues already saw print because he just never saw fit to finish it.
I can guess there's at least one target that wasn't hit, and that was the deadline.
Yeah. So yes, while I will say that Guardian Devil and Quiver, for example, are some of the best superhero books you can hand somebody, Kevin Smith is kind of a shithead. And to my knowledge, he's never apologized for that bullshit about Michael Turner, I'm sorry. And that is one of the most disgusting things about him. Nobody bitched to Michael Turner for being late. Well, the motherfucker was fighting for his life. So, more comic news we're going to get to here in a moment. Let's see. Interesting story. The Arrowverse shows are going to do a big crossover this coming year called Crisis on Infinite Earths. And they apparently Brandon Routh is going to reprise his role as Superman. So we're going to revisit the Superman Returns universe. And while they haven't said exactly what he's going to reprise, Burt Ward has signed on for it. So there's the rumor is he's going to reprise his role as Robin. It's going to be like Robin from the Adam West Batman universe, but 50, 60 years later. So that's kind of interesting. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. So, moving on from comic shit, let's talk about something that just is pure nightmare fuel. They released a trailer for an upcoming Cats movie based on the Broadway show from a couple decades ago. And it is fucking nightmarish. It is an absolute fucking nightmare to behold. We're not going to play the trailer because I don't want to kind of copyright strike over it, but Luke will throw up some images here. If you haven't seen it, I do suggest watching it because it is something to see. There's Rebel Wilson as a big fat cat. Because, humanoid cats with people faces isn't fucking disturbing at all. I could understand how there's some sort of a charm to the goofy costumes from the play, but making it all really, really realistic like that is fucking disturbing. Also, I I mentioned this on a little stream I did this morning, but it still makes me laugh. If you ever remember, back in the 90s, there was a show called The Nanny starring Fran Drescher. And basically she played a just some, your typical Jewish princess who ended up working for this rich widower as his nanny. That was the premise of the show. I mean, depending on your tolerance / amusement at Fran Drescher and the exact same character she plays all the time, it wasn't a bad show. Like the butler character, and it was pretty fucking funny. But one of the running gags in that, aside from the fact that Mr. Sheffield was the rich billionaire's name, was the last straight producer in Broadway. That's where he made all his money. He was a producer in Broadway. One of the running gags in it was that he had passed on Cats. Like somebody tried to pitch him Cats, and he was like, "Get the fuck out of my office." Because wouldn't you? And like everybody would bust his balls in that show, like, "Oh, you passed on Cats," and he's like, "It was singing, dancing cat people. What would you have done?" But yeah, this Cats movie has a lot of big names in it. Rebel Wilson, we just saw, Ian McKellen, Jane Judi Dench, Taylor fucking Swift. Boy, she went Democrat and truly instantly turned into a cat lady, didn't she? So yeah, the Cats trailer is pretty fucking horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who just had first-hand experience with that trailer, it honestly felt uneasy. If you get the right music to that would be a very good horror film.
Yeah, that's ugh. I don't even want to look at that. Like that's just fucking horrifying.
To get some Team America to palate cleanse that.
Oh man. But I mean, I'm not going to go see this because I've actually, nutted in a woman before, so I'm not the target audience for this. God, I hope it fucking flops too. I don't think it will. I mean, but I hope it does. I think it'd be funny as shit if this makes like no fucking money.
Cats was one of those things that when I heard about it, I thought, I don't get this as a child, but maybe I'll get it as an adult. And no, I never got it as an adult.
Well, this is something I asked you two, and maybe if we get Steele on later if he's on. But what's the plot to it? No one can seem to explain it because I always get told it's about what cats do, but all cats do are lick their asses and fucking make the most horrible sounds at night when they fight each other. So what's the plot to it? It's like dogs seem to get really fucking good movies. Like I get like every year there's always like a you've seen the trailers for like there'll be a dog movie, like A Dog's Life, and it's always fucking sad and everyone loves it, and then you get like, I don't know, all dogs go to heaven. Cats get the shittest fucking movies. Maybe that's a trend I've only noticed, but dogs get good films. Cats just, I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I think the plot is that they try to explain to Heathcliff that no one should terrorize their neighborhood. I don't fucking know.
Well, cats are lazy cunts. They aren't going to do anything.
The whole series play is just a bunch of different cat stereotype personalities, and each one gets a song. That's it. Just cats singing in an alley.
And by the way, I just want to point out, regardless of whether this bombs or not, this is gonna win like 40 fucking Oscars. Like, make no mistake, I guarantee you, this is gonna win like 40 fucking Oscars. It's gonna win all the Oscars. Okay, just every fucking one of them.
I can understand something like less.
There's enough CGI. Maybe we can give it best animated movie too.
Oh god, yeah, it probably will. I mean, I know. Actually, there was one thing I was going to say mentioning cats in San Diego Comic-Con. Did you notice the fact that I think Catwoman had to pull out of SDCC completely? Apparently, the trailers are getting such bad reviews, even from test screeners, they had to pull out.
They're doing another Catwoman?
No, the TV show. Is it?
Oh, Catwoman. Batwoman. Okay.
Batwoman. I can't. Wait, it's a. Oh.
Yeah, it's Batwoman. You know what else is funny? This is an old story, but remember the Fantastic Four reboot from like 2-3 years ago or something?
Yeah, the one which just flopped.
Yeah, the one no one fucking remembers. Do you remember that movie? Of course you don't. But what's funny is those actors walked around like that year, walked around San Diego Comic-Con and not one fucking person recognized them. Like, can you imagine if like Chris Evans walked around fucking San Diego Comic-Con or something, how he gets mobbed at every corner? Like, but no, not one fucking person recognized him. Like, even smaller name. I guarantee you the guy that plays like Flash on TV or fucking Steven, what's his name? Steve Amell, I think, the guy that plays fucking Arrow. I guarantee you, like, either one of them could walk around San Diego Comic-Con and get fucking mobbed. But no, they walk. These fucking people walked around. Like, that's right then they knew, oh man, this is not gonna fucking go well, is it? Oh boy. So, well, that's about it for all the stories I wanted to cover. Shit, I don't know. Anything else happened this week? Oh, Benjamin was losing his mind.
Well, it is the 50th anniversary of the moon landing.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I heard the moon landing's not real.
Oh yeah, it's made of cheese. Of course, it's not real.
You sound like a cum drained Jew there, Luke. What are you talking about? The moon land? The moon's not real.
Yeah. Fucking Earth is shaped like a Toblerone.
Don't you know how it works? Like the sun, every once in a while, like somebody flicks the switch and it goes out, and that's the moon. Or didn't you know that? And then
I'm being honest. I might link the channel later for you just to watch. But flat Earth debates are some of the most brilliant shit. Like the fucking mental gymnastics they go through to explain certain stuff. Flat Earth community. That's why I always believe. I think the most plausible, or at least believable conspiracy is the conspiracy theory that certain conspiracy theories are made to disprove plausible ones.
Dashing Rogue sends 199 says, wait for the Rule 34 of Cats, Bechtloff. Oh, dear God. Dear God. So, yeah, Owen Benjamin was on a stream, and he was talking about how his, and this was as an adult, too, but he was talking about how his dad cheated on his mom with gay guys with AIDS. And he's like, I was going to kill my dad, but I didn't murder my dad because I'm so righteous. Like, this is honestly the shit Owen Benjamin's going on about. And it's like, you know that none of this is fucking real, first of all. But imagine that, like, I hate my dad, and you should all think I'm righteous because I didn't murder him. Like, yeah, and most people realize you're not supposed to murder people. Like, most people don't do that. Most people manage to not kill other human beings.
Well, I mean, Owen is a fifth-rate, mentally deranged stand-up comedian.
Honestly, like, look, I joke about Owen being deranged and all, but at this point, like, there's a part of me that's worried, like, I'm gonna wake up one day to the news that this fucking idiot went all Jack from The Shining on his family, because he's like obviously losing a grip on reality that much. The only way you can convince me otherwise is, let me put it this way: if Owen Benjamin, if everything you see on stream is some sort of weird fucking Andy Kaufman like act with him, then okay, maybe he's fine. But if what you see on stream is at all indicative of what Owen Benjamin is really like, then he's lost his goddamn mind. And like I said, one day I'm going to wake up to the news that he fucking took that stupid axe that he was building a fence with or something and just chopped up his family. And like, look, I obviously don't want to see that happen because, I feel bad for his wife and kid, to be honest. In fact, I think his wife should fucking get the fuck out of there, post haste. But what really kind of worries me is I'm going to wake up to that news, and that's going to be a whole fucking new wave of censorship like we haven't seen before. Just every fucking news article, like, alt-right conspiracy theorist Owen Benjamin murders his family because he thought the moon wasn't real. And then, none of us are going to be allowed to have any fucking fun on the internet ever again.
God, that's a good edit. I'm just thinking, here's Benji.
Yeah. Here's Locos. That is disturbing.
Why is it with me finding the most mentally insane people and they always seem to be Jack Nicholson? I mean, it's first Jim Goad, now it's Owen Benjamin.
Oh, Lordy. I mean, like, honestly, like, look, I got some mommy issues, okay? You don't see me going on stream fucking in my shed screaming about, like, oh man, you guys don't understand. See, I didn't always get along with my mom, but I managed to not murder her, so that makes me righteous and pure, and you should all fucking send me money. Although you should all send me money, don't get me wrong.
Logos before and after.
Logos, not even once.
Oh, God.
Oh, but like, what a fucking, and I don't know. I still get people that defend this guy, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing with yourself? Well, you know, Owen's a Christian. It's like, yeah, that's fucking good. Okay, good for him. When he eventually fucking, you know, DUIs himself into a tree, get to be with Jesus. That's fucking fantastic. I'm happy for him. All right, but he doesn't get to use the name of Christ as a troll shield. Something a lot of us fucking fellow Christians need to realize is sometimes you're being persecuted because you're being a dick. It's got nothing to do with Christ, okay? Don't pick that on him.
Looking at history, you can be a Christian or not, but depending on the type of Christian, doesn't mean you're going to be treated well by a fellow brother.
You know, sometimes as a Christian, you're just kind of being a dick, all right? You know, sometimes you're cutting the soldier's ear off, and Christ is like, hey, calm down. You need to just chill, all right? Let me put this guy's ear back on.
Any more news? Actually, no, you did mention before, is it Hayfrun has finally returned to the internet, did you say?
Right. That's right. I was on the Dashing Rogues channel. And I should probably link to it, but I don't remember the fucking link to it. But it's Luke, what is the show called? You're on his channel a lot. What is Dashing Rogues show called? Something Renegade?
It's the Digital Renegade.
What is it? Digital Renegade. Okay, so it's the Digital Renegade show. Look up Digital Renegade Dashing Rogue, you'll find it. Speaking of which, Dashing Rogue sends 199 super chat, says record of Logos Wars, Chronicles of the Big Bear. Yes. Anyways, so I'm on his channel and he's watching a Hadron's back. I know. Fucking Hadron Collider is back. Guess who's back? Back again. Hadron's back. Tell a friend. So she's back with her big brain Gen X energy. And she's on Timothy McVeigh's fucking live stream.
Oh, the fucking that guy in wearing a fucking orange straitjacket.
He's wearing his orange jumpsuit. It looks like he should be telling us his fucking manifesto.
The only way he could be more suspicious, he should have one of those oldie time criminal costumes where it's like spades on it, if I remember correctly.
The black and white stripes.
Yeah.
With the little like black and white hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That little fucking.
He's busy making a fucking kite on Alcatraz trying to get help.
Carrying around a bag with a $sign on it. Okay, so we gotta find this fucking video. Can we find the Hadron video? I gotta find it, dude. I'm so terrible. I'm so unprofessional. I don't have the big brain Gen X energy like Hadron. Let me go. I'll scroll through my history and fucking find it.
That's another generation. I think Gen X is overrated. I think they're basically. I can't remember, was it your stream or another stream? Gen Xers like to complain a lot, and that's all they seem to be capable of doing.
Pretty much. I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean, everyone got fucked by the boomers. You're not unique in that aspect.
Okay, so the guy's channel is. We should watch some of this guy's channel because this guy is the most boring, generic, fucking, like Manosphere 101 from 2014 shit you can imagine. Let me see if I can find some more of this shit. I want to find the.
Does he talk about gammas? It must be. It certainly must be Manosphere.
Oh god, it's Well, here we got the channel. Let's bring up the channel. We're gonna watch some of this guy's stuff, and we're gonna. Personally, by the way, I wish Hadron would just come back. I wish he'd bring back the fucking Free Folk channel and shit, because it's just fucking fantastic. Like I miss the Free Folk so much. Y'all have no idea. Like I know Davis still does stuff, but he's just so fucking boring. But the Free Folk, man, they were such special locales. But the best part is, guys, like doing my own guys, you don't understand. They were our locales. Like nobody else gave a shit about them. It was just me and my fucking audience laughing about it. It was our own private little fucking inside joke.
Private milkers.
Exactly. So this guy's channel is smv4k.com is the name.
Oh, is that his serial number that he got in prison?
That's the most recent life.
Is that the tattoo he's got on the back of his neck?
So he was gonna speak at the fucking 21 convention in Poland. Like this guy has 426 subscribers. What the fuck? Okay, so
and one more thing, it's always got to be an artsy Roman bollock fucking banner. It's always going to be Roman Greek art. Why is it always going to be that? It's just the pinnacle of fucking pretentiousness.
So let's watch a little bit of his stream with Hadron. Luke, go ahead and click on the painful truth about being Gen X with the Hadron Collider. Look at this Timothy McVeigh looking motherfucker. Look at this guy. I'll get back into it. Look at this Unabomber looking motherfucker.
God.
Oh, he should be telling us his fucking manifesto. Just fucking dead eyes.
Does he have the same shirt for every video? That's what would clinch it. If he wears the same one.
Does he have a closet full of them? Remember like the Pro Jarrett intro when he's got like a closet full of the same blue shirt? Like he needs to do that. He needs to like show himself pulling the same art, like 40 of the same fucking orange shirt out.
Yeah. Oh god. The 21 convention. Yeah, I do remember a lot of the controversies around that. What was the faggot that dropped out of it? The one that was going to give Steel free tickets?
Oh, I don't know. Real quick. Boogie sends $2 and says it's like basic manosphere guys are Hadron's type. Dashing Rogue sends $4.99 says the Digital Renegade podcast 8 p.m. tomorrow. We were talking about the Wicca Man, not the bees. The Wicca Man. Well, I don't know about the Wicca Man, but I can tell you the Wicca girls. They were demons in the sack. Eldritch Fan sends $5 and says, Cats is awesome. The song shows a fantastic world. Elements of one song often appear in others. The plot is which cat will ascend to the Heaviside layer.
Is this more of the alternate universe tweets that we're getting? Because I know we had people liking the fucking Batman and Robin films in the last stream.
We got somebody dropping the Cats lore on us. He's read all the extended universe Cats comics.
Is this the mirror universe fucking super chats we're getting?
Dashing Rogue sends another $4.99 and sends the same thing, saying the Digital Renegades podcast Sunday 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're talking about Wicca Man, not the bees. So there you go.
Wait, say it's at 9 p.m. So he has to make another super chat to amend that.
Wait, what was that again, Dashing Rogue?
Yeah, could you repeat that with another $5?
Yeah, could you repeat that, please? No, do check out the Dashing Rogue at
Yeah, I should be off for that. So if you need a side guest, Dashing Rogue, I'll probably be sober for that.
All right. Well, let's hear the Unabomber go ahead and interview Hadron here a little bit.
I'm here today with Haythrun and I, who are both Generation Xers, and what we're.
Do you guys remember what Hadron actually means?
Oh, that's right.
Oh
God, this is hilarious. So I was goofing around on Dashing Rogue's thing, and we looked up what Hadron actually means. Hadron I always call her a Hadron Collider because it's just funny to get her stupid made up name right. But no, her correct made up name is Hadron, and she got that name from a mythical goat who like, I guess it's Norse mythology, like the other gods would suck mead from the goat's titties. That's who she fucking bases herself on. I gotta tell you guys, that was the weirdest issue of Thor I ever read. Captain America just standing there like, what the fuck? But no, that's what Hadron is.
There she is.
Hadron is a mythical goat. that their gods suck mead from its titties.
There she is. There she is.
It's a... She fucking named herself that. Oh, you see why I miss the free folk so much? Oh, you guys got to come back. We come on, free folk. We had so much fun. Think of all the good times we had, and all the good times we can have again. Let's keep going. We're not going to get through all this, by the way. This is an hour and 14 minutes, so we're not going to sit here till fucking midnight. But we'll watch a little bit. We'll get some of the big brain ideas off of this. Keep going.
Unique challenges that people in Generation X are facing. We are a group of people, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. Right now, we're about 39 to 54 years old. And we're specifically talking about Generation Xers that were higher IQ, that were raised by boomer parents. A lot of these people, a lot of us, are red-pilled at a very late age. We got red-pilled in our 30s, 40s, even 50s sometimes. And we're facing some unique challenges. So a lot of people are talking about the millennials as a lost generation. And certainly they've been raised to be snowflakes. They have a lot of their own issues. But Generation X is truly the lost generation of what we currently have in existence. The reason being is that we went through the very first generation of perfected programming. The programming that we went through was at the highest level it had ever been. And we had, when we were younger, we had no anti-programming. We had no alternative. There was no internet that we could go to. There was no subversive channels we could find out the truth from. And there was no right or left wing alternative to the mainstream programming. And so we were programmed very, very efficiently. And I'm talking today with Athrun about some of the problems that we face as Generation Xers and what we can do about them. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I'm really glad you posed these questions to me. These are questions that I do get in coaching, and I think they're so common that it's worth making a video just about it. We're going to be specifically talking to higher IQ Generation Xers, but a lot of these questions affect all kinds of Generation Xers. Right. It's just that the lower IQ ones they may still be under the programming. They may not have got the red pill yet. It tends to be, I think getting red pill has some connection with IQ. And we're going to define the red pill as being willing to look at the truth no matter what. It's really a matrix type of red pill, If you're going to take the red pill and see reality, or the blue pill and forget reality, and we've chosen to take the red pill. And I do think that has something to do with intelligence, and perhaps also, since not all smart people took the red pill, I think it also has to do with our willingness to face social ostrachism rather than face our own condemnation for.
He said he does counseling.
Lies.
Who gets counseled by the fucking Ted Kaczynski?
Real quick, we got a super chat from Dashing Rogue. He says, "Make her talk again, Luke." Oh, that was hilarious. Luke put up an image of Meatloaf, like looking at this guy, and every time Hadrian talked, he shucked the image of Meatloaf like. Oh man.
And you brought up some really great questions. Would you like to pick one in particular that we can start the conversation with?
Let me pull up my notes so that I'm on the same page with you. And some of these questions actually came out of a little think tank that I put together over the weekend in preparation for this discussion. So I can't take credit for these questions. They came out of the conversation with together. One of the questions was, what is the utility of sexual market value
think tank
for whatever reason is not going to be produced? And a couple of these questions hinge on that. And I think that's because for Generation Xers who did not reproduce, again, for whatever reason, we are looking for an alternative to the traditional family to provide for our emotional, social, economic needs, elder care needs, legacy.
We're looking for an alternative to the traditional family, like for instance, forming a cult. She put a think tank together.
What happened to the traditional ways where it's some cyanide in the punch bowl?
I picture the think tank was this fucking Davis Arini's Hugbox Discord server.
No, it was a Skype call.
It was a Skype call. It was her and the rest of the fucking coven as they were watching Golden Girls and fucking feeding their cats.
You just got the staticky one, then you've got that older guy. I think that was the one thing I do miss from the old, was it the Free Folk Mutes? Was the the old guy that sounded like he was like 90 years old and he barely got his microphone working.
Oh, I missed that. Oh yeah,
Gengar. Yeah, Gengar.
So.
He sounded like he should be like a folksy type character in a fucking RPG game.
I thought he was literally like somebody just trolling and doing an old man voice. It was such a ridiculous old man voice. Back in my day, we had rules. You know what it reminded me of? I can't remember the name of the senator, but there was this one senator that like Saturday Night Live used to do like ridiculous fucking old man voice parody of. Back in my day. I can't remember it. Let's keep going, Luke. We'll watch a little bit more of this.
He needs. And yeah, I think it's an important question that one of the folks in the think tank put forward.
Yeah, that's a good question. So the sexual market is primarily about reproduction, but that's not the only thing that's about. If it was, then, for example, gay people wouldn't have sex if sex was only about reproduction. There are other needs that are fulfilled as well by having an interest in having sexual market value. A lot of the things that are connected with having sexual market value are also connected.
This guy just dropped this truth bomb on us. Did you know that sex feels good? Did you know that people have sex for purposes other than reproduction? Yeah. This is some big brain nibba stuff right here. All right. Man, where would we be without this? Eldritch Fan sends $2. Says Hadron might ascend to the heavy side layer. She's the Rebel Wilson cat. Keep going.
With simply taking good care of yourself. For example, if you're fit and healthy, you'll have a higher sexual market value, but you're also going to have a better quality of life as well. You're going to have less healthcare costs. You're going to have a better old age. You can really abuse yourself until you get about our age, and then you feel
is good.
You pay for every
brain nibba stuff here. being in shape is good.
What other advice is he going to give? Like, just be yourself.
So I don't know, man. Did you know that it's better? It's good to be in shape. That's wow. Thanks, fucking Timothy.
In fact, I didn't know that. I won't do that line of coke I was planning to do tonight.
Every mistake you made when you were younger, when you get into your 40s and 50s, and you have to start taking care of yourself. And so even if you're not doing it specifically to raise your sexual market value, it's going to have benefits for you. And I would say the same thing when it comes to, especially for men, when it comes to career, when it comes to choosing a friend group, because your friends have a big impact on your sexual market value. A person with no friends, who wants to date such a person? If they can't make friends, they probably aren't going to make a good relationship partner either.
Maybe
so
the
after our SMB is generally good for us.
Friends we made along the way.
Yeah, women.
Keep going, Luke.
Look for that. I mean, I can tell you as a woman that one of the things that we look for in a male partner is his social credit. Who does he associate with? What are the quality of those people? And where does he rank in that hierarchy?
What the
fuck? Yeah, and it's, I tell a lot of men.
I just can't help it. It's so funny. The meatloaf is so perfect.
It's perfectly angled.
It's so perfect, dude. God, I'm gonna die.
And who are looking for a woman, the very first thing I tell them is get into a male hierarchy. The younger they are, the more important this is to get into it quickly. But get into a male hierarchy and figure out what the successful men in that hierarchy are doing and do basically what they're doing. And I don't mean the exact jobs or whatever, but follow the pattern of life that the successful people in your hierarchy are doing. Very hard. If you can't make a friend, how on earth are you going to make a relationship with someone of the opposite sex if you can't make friends with someone of the same sex as you, where you already have a whole bunch of built-in similarities?
That's why he's interviewing a witch.
So no, I think it's not just a matter of looking at it as sexual market. There's a huge overlap between.
Why are we taking advice from a prisoner? He's clearly doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, you don't understand. He's got so many women writing him fucking letters wanting to fuck him. Them serial killers.
Yeah, he must be good if he's live streaming from jail.
He's got a lot of good behavior. He's got a lot of privileges in his cell.
Yeah, there's that Google Hangouts amendment.
Oh, man.
And having high sexual market value. It's just a way that we use to describe those traits in a group applied towards reproduction. But the actual work that you have to do to get a high sexual market value makes your life better, even if you don't, even if you aren't in a relationship or looking for one. And I'm actually surprised there's a lot of people, I see this quite often, they're past relationships in a way. They're frustrated. They're exhausted of looking.
Oh, yes.
And they don't want to have their heart broken again. And it's sad. It's really hard to hear people being down like that. And that makes it very, very difficult for them because they will start to isolate themselves, not just from potential mates, but from friends and from everyone. I think Generation X is the first isolated generation. The boomers are extremely networked.
Yes.
These are the people that in the hippie days, they would go on, pile 16 of them into a bus and go on a long trip for months at a time. They were extremely socialized. Their children, however, are very unsocialized. Generation Xers have very few friends. I would say probably the group with the least amount of friends. And they are very isolated from each other. And this is a lot to do with the way that they were raised.
No one wants to hang out with somebody who's just
control.
ironic all the time. Nobody wants to hang out with somebody that's still listening to Nirvana.
This isn't Stand By Me. We've got fucking better priorities.
Well, we were the latchkey kids, and I would say that for most of us, we were underprotected. Our parents had the highest rate of divorce of any of the recent generations, so we were left home alone. Moms were working, dads were not in the household because they had separated. So yeah, we learned how to be independent in a way in that we occupied ourselves, but there's a negative to that. We developed sort of very primal survival instincts and habits, but we weren't socialized, we weren't supervised, we didn't receive any
You all
mentoring
became
or guidance.
cunts, by the way.
So
All Gen
when we
Xers are
entered into
cunts.
adulthood, we really didn't have a map to navigate the landscape by, or worse than that, we were given a map that was incorrect. If we had parents that for whatever reason distorted truths for us, manipulated us in some way, exploited, abused, etc., we went out there with a map that was completely incorrect.
You wouldn't want to have a bad map. Next thing you know, you're praying to Odin.
No wonder they're pissed. They had maps. We had Google Earth.
So yeah, I think that sets one up for getting into situations where they're going to have negative relationships, where they're going to experience failures in all facets of life. And yeah, that it exacts a cost. Every time you fail, that exacts a cost. And after so many successive failures, you just run out of energy to continue. You may want to, but it exhausts you sort of psychically to the point where your brain learns, don't do that again because we need to survive. And that is costing us resources.
Really so many times
We have to teach a lot of this comes from the general.
Laugh at you before you can't take it no more. Oh man, it's so stupid. I'm sorry, I can't take it when Luke's shaking the fucking head like that. It's so funny.
It's the shaking. It reminds me of like the.
Did I stop?
It reminds me of the flappy heads from fucking the Canadians from South Park. That's why it just makes me laugh.
Remember back in the 90s when Conan would like fake interview somebody and he'd cut the mouth out of like a still picture and it'd be somebody behind it like moving a mouth and it was so fucking fake and stupid. It was one of the later ones he did, I remember, but like he's fake interviewing Sean Connery and it was right when the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie was coming out and he's like he's explaining the movie and Conan's like, well, that sounds like it could be a very good movie, and the guy playing Sean Connery's just like, it's a piece of shit but go see it anyways, I need the money.
Behavior trends of the boomers. The boomers are parasitical. They sucked all the money out of their parents' generation, and then they sucked all the money out of their own generation, and then they spent all the money from their children's generation. And they not only did that with money, they did that with everything.
Yes.
There was, I think, the first generation where children were considered an accessory rather than, I'm having children purely for my sake rather than the fact that I want to, parental interest in having children for their own sake is perfectly healthy as part of being a parent. But it was the first generation where they thought, I can use up my children, it doesn't matter. And that really left a lot of scars on the Generation Xers. The relationship that you have with your parents sets the pattern for relationships that you have the rest of your life. And if you're dumped in daycare at an early age, if you are home alone all the time, you just don't need people. And people who have been raised in communities where people cooperate a lot, so folkish type communities.
This is so boring. This guy's so fucking boring. It's so manos. You ever notice that with these big brain nibbas? Like, we're the smart Gen Xers. They go on later about how we're the big brain Gen Xers. They literally go on about how we're the smart Gen Xers. We get it. And it's like you have such a basic bit. Like, this literally sounds like shit the rest of us were talking about in 2014. Like, way to be 5 fucking years late to the party, dude. That's fantastic. That's some real big brain nibba fucking observations here. Like, so far, his big observations are sex feels good.
And boomers are cunts.
Having friends is good. Being in shape is good. And boomers are assholes. Well, hot damn. Oh, man. All right. I think we're not gonna watch the rest of this because there's only so much of Luke shaking the fucking meatloaf face I can do before I'll laugh.
I'm improved. Well, I was looking. We get a good spot.
Oh my god.
Say, for example, and one of the things that I wanted to add when you were speaking earlier about strategies and whatnot, not only did many of us not receive useful strategies, or as I said, perhaps even harmful ones, but the markets themselves had been destroyed by the boomers. So by the time Gen Xers, came to adulthood, we were entering into a marriage market that was completely destroyed, and we were entering into a work market that was completely destroyed. So let's say, for example, and I'll use a young woman for this. Let's say she got lucky, and she grew up in an environment where mom and dad were married. They were healthy. They modeled healthy, pro-social behavior for her. And as a young woman, she aspires to be a wife and mother because that's what she's biologically called to do. Well, she's going to have a really hard time selling her value because sex is so cheap and freely available by all of the other young women who have been programmed to be promiscuous. And so finding a man, at the peak of her sexual market value to pair bond with and start a family with now becomes a virtually impossible task because, the guys expect free sex. They expect sex outside of commitment. They won't date you unless you're open to that. So it destroys the value, for her. Same thing for the guys. They're having a conservative man who, was raised in a pro-social environment. He's looking for a wife to pair bond with. He's faced with the same problem. How do I find that needle in the haystack, And granted, not everybody is called to a traditional family. I mean, I'm an outlier myself. That's because I'm a creative person, and I was always passionate about the arts. I have a high talent for the arts, and that's what consumed my interest as a child. But for the majority, I'd say probably 80-90% of the population, that's what they're biologically hardwired to seek. And between the programming, the sort of maladaptive parenting that they got, and then coming into markets that were completely stripped of their value, I mean, our generation was faced with a near impossible task in terms of success. And I think we've been really hard on ourselves up until we got red pilled. One of the positives from the red pill is now that we understand the causes for these consequences, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of us for failing. We realize now this wasn't entirely our fault. And we really didn't, to use a word that you use a lot, have agency up until now because we were ignorant.
Yeah, we're largely under, until you take the red pill, you're largely under.
What you got in on there was something that I've noticed with a lot of these people. They take the red pill as just another way to blame everybody but themselves for their fucking problems. Well, it's not my fault. I'm a 40-year-old cat lady who looks, who fucking, prays to Odin. That was all just because expected, oh, the boomers screwed me over. Yes, sweetie, the boomers screwed over everybody. Okay, like that's not news. All right, but at a certain point, you got to take a little bit of fucking responsibility for yourself. Everybody wants to latch onto the red pill. It's not my fault. It's the fucking boomers and the Jews and the At a certain point, just you got to take responsibility. All right, and a lot of people want to latch onto these fucking things to do the exact opposite. They want to be like, "Well, see, this makes me feel better about what a fucking loser I am."
I mean, I would say a lot of these situations, especially when it comes to women, game, and jobs, and I mean, the only thing I think the general I've noticed is I think luxury goods have gone down in value. Like when I compare old TV prices, like when my old man used to buy them back to now, things like luxury trinkets are certainly a lot cheaper, but housing and food is a lot more expensive. But when it comes to sort of what we're doing now versus what the boomers, and I'd say the late, really early Gen Xers, they had shit a lot easier, but doesn't mean it's impossible. You can still do a lot of shit if you know what you're doing correctly. You can still get somewhere. It's a lot harder, mind you, and I'm certainly not trying to fucking defend the boomers, but when you've got people that will unilaterally say it's impossible and that we should blame the group, you can still get somewhere. I used to say this with a lot of co-workers and friends of mine. It's nowadays it's back in the day boomers could handshake their boss and get a manager position in 2 weeks, and then they were able to buy 2 houses on the wage. Nowadays you'll be lucky to be able to rent with I don't know, a spouse or a partner if you've got one. But it's not impossible. You just got to exploit the situation.
I'm not trying to take the boomers off the hook here. Be like, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps or any of that shit. Because obviously the boomers did fuck us all over. There's no getting around that. As a generation, they fucked us all over. But there's a lot of people that use the red pill regarding the boomers or whatever. And it's not that there's not a point there, but this makes me feel better about what a loser I am. you know, or the fucking arena thing, or the arena thing, where it's like, you know, clearly I should be in charge, but society is so degenerate that they just don't recognize my genius, and all that other stuff. In other words, they use it to borrow the overused gamma thing from Vox Day. They use it to be the secret king. None of it's my fault. And you know, the other thing you got to remember is, you know, it might not be your fault, but it's still your responsibility. It's still, you know, it's nobody's problem but yours. Kind of thing. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up because I think we had a pretty good show here. I don't want to go on all night, but oh man, Luke, you were killing me with a fucking shaking the meatloaf face. That was so funny. Oh, that was great. Folks, if you enjoy the content I put out, do consider supporting the show. We got the PayPal, Patreon, and Amazon wish list are all ways you can support this program. And also, you can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/the Bechtloff. There's the Discord. I threw a link in the chat to the last one. Whatever. I don't feel like doing it now. I'll throw a link in the video. Whatever. Y'all probably been on the Discord. I'm sorry. I'm lazy tonight. I'm tired. There's also the Twitter. I'm on the Twitter, Facebook, or twitter.com/Bechtloff podcast. No A in the word podcast. Luke runs that for me, but you can see stuff on there. I'm also on Gab, gab.ai/the Bechtloff, but I never go on Gab anymore because it's fucking boring. So yeah, that's about all we got for this week, folks. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.